Hey, welcome back, everybody. Here we go. We're getting started with the season again. Again, thank you, Skot, for all of your help in commissioning. Thank you, Joe and Trevor, for being here. Let's get started with talking about some of the new rule changes that happened over the offseason, and then we'll get into a little bit of draft analysis. I have on shared the screen here for the change log, and I'll just go ahead and flip the scene over so that we can see that here in the recording. So,
Well, also thank you, Steve, for taking over co-commissioner stuff and acting in my absence while I've been busy.
yeah, no worries, no worries. Happy to help. Cool. So, the first thing is that we're really going to be going over. I guess is going to be these scoring changes, right? We have these are the results of our off-season polls that we set up at the end of last season. Um, Mostly here we're seeing the IDP rebalance. Reducing the IDP touchdown bonus, changing the PBU and interception, interchanging those to emphasize interceptions over pass breakups, and adding interception and fumble return yards for defensive players. Additionally, we added the tight end premium to further balance the tight end position.
Well, I just wanted to say the IDP changes, you guys, they're going to be huge.
Massive.
But in a good way.
Yeah. Massive.
There less impact on those weird stat correction weeks where your PBU gets taken off or a PBU gets added and then you end up losing or winning or whatever. It's still going to happen because
still 4 points, but
it's going to be less impactful.
Yeah, exactly.
And I really think this is kind of the happy middle ground between defensive back and defensive line versus linebacker scoring.
Yep.
It's gonna be a lot better, I think. And of course, we'll continue to reevaluate, but I don't foresee much changes happening past these tweaks. To be honest,
yeah,
I'm pretty happy with this.
I think we won't want to change much from here on out. I think, but we'll see how this season goes, and we will collect data and evaluate as always. We're not gonna stop looking at it. Even though we're pretty satisfied with what we think this is gonna wind up looking like.
Yeah, the other thing about tight end premium is that does give a significant boost to the tight end position. Though I feel like there's a good level of parity across the league because we just did our startup last season. So it's not like we have teams that completely deprioritize the tight end position and are going to be disproportionately affected by this change. I think that when all is said and done, it will be better to have the tight end position be stronger in general, just because it's such a weak point. Like your tight end is going to be worse than like a middling defensive lineman most weeks without tight end premium. So now that we've given that small boost, I think it will make that position more valuable in terms of trades, drafts, and so on and so forth.
This 0.5 PPR really raises the floor for a lot of tight ends into sort of a relevancy from before, but it also does raise the ceiling for your Supremos at the position.
Laporta, Kelsey.
Yeah, exactly. Your Laporta, Kelsey, Mandrews, all them. They're gonna go from like, where they're gonna get an extra like 50 points.
They've
over the
season. A lot
more
valuable from this rule change, but they're relatively small numbers of tight ends that are doing that. Although the position is changing, so.
Well, also when I ran the numbers on this, with and without the changes, if you guys remember, the boost was pretty modest when it came to like pushing players into the top 100. We just saw, a small boost in the number of names that were tight ends in that list.
Right. In terms of the overall parity, for sure.
Yeah. I think the IDP special team scoring stuff kind of speaks for itself. That was an oversight, so thank you for passing that unanimously.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
It's amazing what you just forget to do.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's a lot of rules to set up. So, yeah. Again, the special team scoring to align with IDP. Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, we screwed up. Thanks for helping us correct it. For the
Thankfully, it ended
taxi
up being
clause,
pretty minor. I think
Yeah,
that
it
we
didn't-
noticed it like week 9
it
or
didn't
something.
matter.
We were like, wait,
Yeah. It's like,
why did I not get scored tackle points for tackle? And
But
it
they were
was like, oh.
tackling.
I'm pretty sure I kept asking you that like all fucking year.
I think
Like, what is going on?
It came up for me early too because I was pretty sure I was like, hey, that was my guy. Where was that tackle? Like that would have mattered. But
And we kept chalking it up to them just like missing it.
yeah, exactly. And then we're like, oh no, we missed it. So, oops.
Yeah.
But yeah, the taxi squad. Next up, the taxi squad trade clause, which basically is
Just gives you more flexibility for trades when
exactly
you're thinking about
if
trading rookie pieces
exactly
or young players.
it and if you have extra room on your taxi squad or can make taxi squad room, you know, it might make it more reasonable to trade some of those 2026 fifth round picks for a rookie flyer. You know, especially if you can land them on your taxi squad. So, the 2-week rollback clause is just a protection over rage quits.
Yep.
And that is reasonable. Thank you for passing it.
I saw that happen on Reddit. Some people were discussing this situation, and I was like, I don't want to have to deal with that with my friends, but I think we should have a rule for it. So
Yeah.
thank you for voting that in.
Just better overall.
I think that was unanimous too. I think pretty
I
much
think so.
everyone was like, yes, we should be able to vote on rolling back trades involved with a team that clearly rage quit.
Yeah, we don't need that. We absolutely don't need that.
Yeah.
The
I
trade
hope we
deadline
never
has
have to
been
fucking
removed
do that.
as
That was
well.
an interesting one.
Yeah,
That one was passed
was-
by one vote.
This was contentious.
Yeah. It was razor thin. I think yeah, it was like 7 to
7 to
yeah, it was 7 to
or-
6.
Yeah, 7 to or that doesn't track.
Or sorry, 7 to 5.
It would have been 7 to 5.
vote.
Yeah.
This is by 1. We'll see how it goes. If we hate it, we can change it. But the idea is that people will be able to trade throughout the playoffs and be able to leverage their draft capital and gain value from their draft capital in the instance where you might be in a rebuild, because draft picks have the most value during the playoffs in terms of like buying and selling. So
True.
I think it's worth saying like this should be something that people monitor during the postseason.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
we should discuss this at some point and how people like it and get feedback.
yeah,
It was
the
close enough where like
again,
it would be worth to revisit just to make sure that everybody is like still on board, or if like there's enough people where it's like worth a vote.
yeah, the thing is that I was worried about was a case where people are upset that a trade happened that is pretty lopsided. Like if they feel like they sold a good player for too cheap, and it feels like they're buying the championship, but it's like, if anyone could do it, so we'll just see how it goes. I'm under the impression that no deadline is the de facto way to play Dynasty, so it's good that we have that turned
Yeah.
off. So
I
that's
think
more
it-
of a redraft thing.
it could
'Cause
definitely go.
there's
either
more
way.
there's more of an impetus for you to be smart about your transactions during the playoffs, regardless of if you're in or out, because you're going to be there next season.
Absolutely.
that's
Absolutely.
kind of the
and you're gonna
point.
have the same roster.
As the first championship was won by a trade because of this kind of thing, it's worth like remembering that like trades are valuable for like getting those players you want to take a chance on.
Yeah.
And then they can win you a championship.
Yeah.
That being said, we are also, the no collusion rule still stands, and
Yeah.
You know,
no
like,
collusion.
please don't do it. Like, just be competitors. Fight for your own.
Yeah, I like
self.
what Josh said. It's like it's collusion's like sexual assault. You know what it looks like.
Yeah, don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Either way, like.
Right.
All right. This is some really just
I
some standardization.
Love this change.
This?
Love this change, Steve.
Yeah.
Yes. This was all Steve's idea, and I was really, really into it because, man, it was so fun. Not only with in the off season having the additional roster flexibility to be able to add pieces, speculative ads during like the early parts of the off season, and then after the draft, once we started cutting players down, all the players that kind of started getting whittled away from people's rosters and stuff. I love this change. I'm all about it. I think it's great.
Yeah, it was really fun. It was cool to watch the first season, and
yeah, I mean, makes for tough cutdowns.
It was fun. Yeah, it was really neat. I think it added a fun wrinkle.
I had some tough decisions to make. I'm sure everyone had the same experience, but like it was hard, man. I was sitting there. I spent hours, just like, not all at once, but like over
the course of a month, agonizing. About, like, what the fuck am I gonna do?
What am I gonna do here? You know?
No, it's very good.
Like dudes that will be starting, like,
yeah,
because of just how like the NFL works. Like injuries happen.
Yep.
I also like how it reinvigorates the waiver wire a bit,
especially over the off season. It makes there in some incentive for off season activity on the waiver wire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because the bench spots are less valuable.
Right.
So.
And then they become.
I still haven't even knocked my fucking.
Yeah, you gotta get your roster back into compliance, unless you're satisfied with your lineup, and then you're just gonna like wait and roll and like wait for injuries to accumulate. Like
that was the plan.
That is an option. Like,
I mean, that's a good strategy.
I don't know if it's a good strategy, but it is a strategy.
Yeah, I was gonna say it is a strategy.
You just have zero flexibility. You just kind of like white knuckle it for as many weeks as you can, and just hope that.
And it's like, I mean, it depends on how many injuries you're willing to like bet on in those first few weeks.
Well, not even just injuries, but just like
shit happens.
Betting on missing out on early waiver wire ads. Like you could miss out on a Puka Nakua or it's like stuff like that could happen that you miss out on because you're like sitting there holding a bag already.
Right.
Well, I mean, if shit like that happens, you can always just drop the. It's really not. You just gotta pay attention.
Yeah, you just have to be ready and then be like, okay, I gotta jettison the crap now. Like, all those hard decisions have come home to roost at one moment. But yeah, brutal. Speaking of injuries and banking on them happening, the number of IR spots being increased, I think, is a really positive change too. I mean, we saw how
good change. Mine's already full.
Yeah. Yes, the speculative pup ads.
Oh no, my team just has players that are injured.
Just that just that bad already.
I mean, I got a player that got shot and was doing some shooting. I got a bunch of players that are just dead.
We're gonna get to Slick Rick, don't you worry.
Oh my fucking god, dude.
It's weird that it happened twice.
Another player that got shot.
You didn't hear about this, Trevor? We'll get to it.
Yeah, we're gonna get to this. We're gonna get to this.
You just gotta hope it breaks next year, Scott.
We'll get to it.
Yeah. So this is just some, again,
cover your
covering ass. This is not
covering my ass.
I mean, it's covering our ass. Yeah. This is language that defines things.
The next one though.
This is big. This is already.
I don't care about the Darrell Henderson rule. Let's get to the next one.
Okay, yeah. The Darrell Henderson rule has already come into play. It's very interesting, but yeah.
It's all Steve's fault. No.
Yeah, it's all my fault. All right, reseeding. This is the biggest deal here.
I think the IDP changes, tight end premium, and this are the biggest changes are gonna really matter.
Changes.
Gonna have ripples for years. long story short,
Well, this is what we wound
The
up doing,
goal-
right?
Hmm?
This is what we wound up doing last year, right?
No.
Or no?
No.
No, right.
No.
Okay.
Last year, this is how Kelsey ended up with Marvin Harrison Jr.
Right.
We had the crappy toilet bowl rules.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
we had to
long
stack
story
up Kelsey
short,
number
long
one.
story short, when you miss playoffs, if your team is bad, you are going to play against another team who is also bad.
Right.
But you're not getting a top pick unless you get out of the toilet bowl as fast as possible. So if you
Right,
have a
you have
bad
to
team
win your way
and you
out.
win right away, you get that first pick. You got to fight for it. The longer that you last in the toilet bowl, the worse your pick gets. So the way it's balanced is
Unless
if
you,
have
unless
a
you
bad
win,
team,
right?
Yeah.
Hmm?
When you win
Unless
out,
you win.
once you win out, you're out of the toilet bowl, and you victory your way out of the tournament, the toilet tournament. Then
and you
you're-
secure a better draft
you secure a better draft pick. Exactly.
Yep. So the goal is to win quick, fast as possible, and also to have a bad team if you want a good pick. Not just have a bad team and lose if you want a good pick. Anyway, I think this will be a good change. I think it is a little confusing, but I think once we actually exercise it, it will make sense, and
Yeah,
it will be a more
this-
competitive experience.
I will
everybody.
say for myself, like
It'll be
working
pretty
through
obvious.
this, like actually going through the motions of figuring out what the seeding would have been last year and how it would have worked, made this make a ton more sense. So like if you want to go back and use the previous results and like figure out how it would have been seeded with last year's results and how it would have turned out with last year's results, that is I think a good way to kind of like work yourself through it and you know figure out how it's going to look.
I think ultimately it kind of worked out the way it should have worked out because the teams who desperately needed good draft picks got their good draft picks. So
Pretty much.
yeah, you were bad and you lost because your team was bad, and
Yeah.
nobody tanked for picks.
Which thank you everybody for doing because
Yeah, no, good job
could
with
have
the
easily done
competitive
that.
integrity of the
Yeah.
league.
Yeah.
Like we would
Yeah.
like to continue that, but you know,
I'm
always good
eternally
to say
grateful
thank
to you guys for being mature.
you.
As mature as you can be, I guess.
We are playing fake football, so yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, thank you, Danny, for doing the analysis and suggesting the changes to the prize payouts.
Yep.
That got passed pretty unanimously, I believe.
It
Those
was
who did vote.
we did
So
rank
it was
or we
a
didn't do
popular
ranked
change.
choice, but this was the most popular choice by a pretty wide margin when we did this vote. So yeah.
I will say that having the first overall like prize, B420 was quite funny, but this is
Yeah, that
probably
was kind of a
Yeah,
meme.
that was our goal, but this makes more sense.
Yeah, this is
So
probably-
like I get it.
Yeah. The draft limit,
We already
reason
dealt
for
with
that.
this.
Yeah, it was kind of like to get people to make moves during the draft, but I think everyone was just kind of like really raring to go and didn't really want to do any more trades. So
Yeah.
I don't
I
know.
think at some
I think
point,
the
though,
extra time is good though, because you can kind of sit and think.
that and then in the future, I think there might be like room for trades. Like
Yeah, yeah. I think that it will happen eventually. You know, especially as disparity grows in the league.
so is that it?
Yeah, basically the rest of it is just some fluff.
This is none. This
Yeah,
is
the substitution thing we've kind of hammered to death, but if you
Yeah.
if you live under a rock and have no idea what we're talking about, you now have the ability to elect a substitute for a player that is questionable to play, and it's time agnostic, meaning that it doesn't matter when the substitute would play. You guys voted to just be able to elect a substitute regardless of time to avoid situations where you have a player that's, you know, maybe dealing with a hamstring or whatever, and may or may not play on Monday Night Football, and it's like CeeDee Lamb and really important to your team, and you would rather you play them regardless of who you have on your roster, but you also don't want a donut. You can now address that situation with the substitute feature. So
Or a London game.
we're gonna try it out, and we're gonna see how it goes this season. But it was also unanimous. It was passed.
We have
Everybody wants this feature.
A
So,
single substitution this year.
Yeah, I
We may
mean,
expand it
Trevor's
next year
been
if we
Trevor's
like it.
been fucked by that. Casey got extra fucked by it one year with the Alvin Kamara on the international game with absolutely no news, and he just was inactive. So stuff like that matters.
Yeah, you literally had to be up at 4 a.m. Pacific in order to understand that Kamara didn't fly with the team in order to know. And like, there's no way that that's reasonable on a Sunday when literally you're trying to sleep in and just play a fucking game. So good job, Sleeper. Thanks for adding a reasonable feature.
The London games are so cringe.
All of the Europe games are so cringe.
More games, and then we have a Sao Paulo game.
We got Brazil. Yeah, at least that's at 5:15 on a Friday.
Yeah.
Like.
Whatever.
Yeah, whatever, man. Like
on a football pitch,
it
right?
That's you, but like that's about it.
On a football pitch, yeah.
All right, let's get into the draft.
Let's get into the draft. Yeah, exactly. Does anyone in particular want to start?
I mean,
I'll go first.
Oh, you can go for it then.
Yeah, go for it.
All right. I'll just go left to right. Let's start with Ben. I think Ben had a really solid draft, honestly. Romo Dunze, I think.
Here's Ben's draft highlighted here.
Of the first half of like the first 6 picks, probably like the one I would have gone with at 2, but like really solid. Like gonna tie him to Caleb Williams, all that. Those next 2 picks, Packers. So yeah, that all checks out. Yeah.
Yes, it does.
It was so funny. The second round, it literally rolled up on his pick. Like, Steve, you locked in your pick, and then immediately I was basically like, "All right, Ben, just pick Marshawn Lloyd.
Yeah,
and let's
take
move
Marshawn
on."
Lloyd.
He
let's
immediately
go.
picked him.
Yeah, he was like, "I got you. I'm doing it." Because he thought I was gonna take it. He was staring me down the entire time, and I was just like, "No, no way."
Andrew Cooper, though, with our rule changes, could turn out to be like a really good pick. Like linebackers have gotten.
Yeah, he was one of the top defensive.
He was the first off the board, right? For linebacker.
Second.
For linebacker.
Second for pure linebacker off the board.
So Junior Colson went first.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Junior Colson went before.
Okay. And then
that's mimicked here in our draft too. So.
Yep.
Yeah. Makes sense. Chop Robinson, I think is like a worthwhile
cool
like rounder.
Yeah.
Like obviously went in the first round. So that's like good value there, but also athletic freak, a lot of wide 9 stuff. So we'll see how he actually translates to the league. And then as a flyer on Tez Walker, like
don't hate it.
Don't hate it. Yeah,
I love that.
He started out like summer scouting last year, like with a huge amount of hype, and it just didn't pan out. Part of that was like he missed time, like during the season, and then like bad drops, but like went to the
project.
Like, yeah, I mean, it's worth a flyer, especially in the 3rd. Like, definitely, boy, sure is fast.
I mean, with the question marks behind the wide receiver room in Baltimore, you can see there's a path to viability there, especially if Bateman's dust. So,
and Bateman has not proven anything for 3 years. They've been trying to make him the number 1, and he just cannot manifest the role.
He's been injured pretty much every season.
That's a big part of it too. But last year he was healthy pretty much all season, and like Odell Beckham Jr. was taking his snaps away. So. And he's a goddamn dinosaur.
Pass catchers, and 2 of them are tight ends. So, like, there's totally a viable path there.
Yeah. Next.
Matt. He actually, first one to make a pick on somebody else's pick. Sorry, Scott. Jonathan Brooks. I think overall that's going to turn out to be fine.
He's currently injured, right? Unfortunately.
Yeah, but he was
tore his ACL.
Yeah, he's out for like half the season.
Yeah. ACL. He's been out. Like, they're letting him come back slow because the Panthers don't want to be good. But also, like, he was consensus like best running back in the class. Went first. Like, can't really say anything bad.
Pretty weak running back class though.
Extremely.
Yeah, I think that's the consensus. Is that
But we'll see. You never know.
That was
everybody
Scout's
says every
consensus.
class is bad, so whatever.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean,
Next-
when you look at last draft class, you had Bijan Robinson and Jameer Gibbs. Those guys are like, as far as prospects go, like a tier above any running back, any
Yeah.
top running back from this class.
From this class, yeah, absolutely.
But
This
this
entire
this
class
class
was
was stacked for quarterback and wide receiver.
Yeah.
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 Unfortunately, the other stacked class is one we do not play, which is offensive line. So yeah.
Right.
Well, we can't. It's impossible to play
Someday
fantasy.
soon, we'll get there.
His next pick, Caleb. Obvious good pick.
Yeah,
I think,
solid.
I think anybody can see right now, like, as long like it's up to him about how good he wants to be, and as long as the Bears don't completely fall apart, like on the O-line, he'll have a shot.
That's the gamble.
After that, went back to all quarterbacks are, like, yeah. After that, he went back to the well 3 times on running backs, Blake Corum and Braylon Allen, both backups, pretty solid backups for elite running backs at this point, like Brees Hall, Kyron Williams. Then Ray Davis. People seem to be hyped on him. I'm not entirely sure.
Oh, he's a tank, bro. Ray Davis is gonna be a fucking tank.
Yeah, we'll
I
see.
feel like
man.
he profiles more like a third down
Bros.
back or a backup than a,
I'm
a
always
real
skeptical of the huge
four-down
bruisers who
bruiser.
aren't
Yeah,
fast.
this guy's gonna run people over.
Yeah, he's a tank.
He's 225-8. He's literally a fucking bowling ball. That's gonna
Yeah,
run.
but
he's
like-
a really compact dude.
That's
you
what
watch his
everybody
tape-
look. That's what everybody said about AJ Dillon. So, I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah, man.
mean-
I'm always skeptical of this profile of players. I'm not saying he doesn't work. Like, the Bills love this type of player. Like, that's why they had Levante Murray at 34. Latavius Murray?
Yeah,
Latavius Murray at 34. This is a player they like. He could totally work out and, like, be a goal line, like...
Well, that's why they traded for Naheem Hines, but then he got injured.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
They wanted a guy who will just run through a brick wall for you.
Yeah. I mean, it's smart. Save Josh Allen. Don't make him do it.
Yep. Yep.
That's really what that is.
That's the whole.
I don't
That's
know.
the
I
strategy.
think it'll be valuable. I think that it's going to be a running back committee with Cook and him, but
We'll see.
I think they'll both
Yeah.
have value.
As the owner of James Cook, I really don't want that to happen. I'm also relatively skeptical of. I'm skeptical of rookies immediately taking like established veterans' work. We see like
That
even
happens
Jameer-
with running backs all the time. So
It does, but like even Jameer Gibbs, it took an injury to take any work from Demo.
it's because Demo had gas in the tank.
Yeah, but we'll see.
So does Cook.
Yeah, we'll see.
On to Trevor.
Eh.
With the
We forgot
first
Braylon
shot-
Allen, but
No, I talked about Braylon Allen,
Oh.
and he's a backup to Brees Hall, so
yeah, for
he
sure.
can languish forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, he will.
Yeah,
He's gonna
um,
do just a lot there.
Yeah, Trevor with the first surprise of the actual first round with Troy Franklin.
Yeah, I learned Trevor loves Troy. I knew Trevor loved Troy Franklin, but he loved him.
His tape is really good.
Honestly, I was so surprised he fell as
He
far as
fell
he did.
because- I mean, he fell because he's skinny. He had a lot of drops this year, which was uncharacteristic for his
He
time at
fell
Oregon.
because of the team he's playing on currently.
And
Well,
you mean I'm talking about like the actual draft.
The
like,
actual
I mean,
draft.
fourth
his
round.
Oregon.
Oh, the actual draft.
his Oregon
Yeah, no,
team?
in the fourth round, he like fell. He fell to the fourth round because he's
Yeah.
yeah.
well, he has an ideal situation. Like he's in a really good situation in my opinion because he gets his college quarterback.
Yeah,
Like we
yeah,
might have
right.
if
Bo
Bo
Nix.
Nix is good, we might have another Tank Dell situation here.
Maybe.
Well,
I mean?
he's gonna get
That's
the
a-
most work, that's for sure.
That's a flyer that's interesting for sure.
I don't hate it. I mean, I do. I
It's
think
more,
the
it's
power
more
of
like a
friendship
Jamar Chase
makes a lot of sense.
situation, right? Than a Tank Dell.
I mean,
Uh,
Trevor's team is like constructed
They're coming
with
in at the
anime
same
power.
time.
Yeah. And I don't. And given where Trevor is, like, he can take a shot on this guy, and if it works out, like, that's good. Like he's trying
Yeah,
to.
that's a
win
good
now.
point.
Yeah.
Because he's so young, he'll be in the league for a long ass time.
Yeah.
Right.
Which will help because Trevor will need young players.
Yeah, no, I think this is it's a
Yeah.
like at the time it was a reach. I don't like I like Troy Franklin, but like
Yeah, I do too.
It makes
one
a
of those
little bit
things
more
that, like,
sense in
fourth round draft
hindsight.
capital is like
You know,
day 3 draft capital. That's like kind of the only knock you can say.
Yeah.
right.
Other than like Denver, like as much as
Right.
you want to believe in that.
Yeah, you could try with Bo.
Yeah. I mean, his next
Be
two
a Bo
picks
Leva.
are very Trevor, taking big, very strong D linemen. Very
The
much
best
Trevor.
D lineman in the class.
Both of them.
Pure D line.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
I don't know if there's. I mean,
Oh,
for
they
fantasy-
absolutely are.
Latu is also like I like Latu. Like I think he's gonna be.
Oh, I mean, Latu's good, but I don't know. I think Jared Verse and Byron Murphy will be in the league longer. That's just my personal opinion.
I mean, that's just injury at that point. Like
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Latu is.
It's hard to say. These guys are like 1A, 1B, 1C though. It's really hard to say.
I just
especially in a class like this. It's hard to evaluate them in terms of draft capital just because of how wild the first round was.
Yeah.
Well, also, I
in the
think-
actual draft.
Bro, look how heavy he is.
He's big. His
yeah,
overall,
fucking
though,
holy
his
shit.
thighs. Byron Murphy's
Right
thighs
class.
are like the size of elm trees.
Dude, yeah, trunks.
Dude's huge.
I mean,
The
this
D
is-
line class.
This
is not
guy
good.
is just. He's a
running
little
back
lankier, like, but still.
True.
The running back class and the D line class were considered the
Latu's-
weak.
Holy
very weak.
moly! No wonder. Run stuffer, thud.
I really think that's only because of how good the quarterback and wide receiver class was, which everyone is like more
Focused
interested
on.
in
Yeah.
in terms of like pundits. So
I don't know. There was skepticism about Dallas Turner. He was the youngest. He fit the draft profile for a first rounder, and kind of like the Kayvon Thibodeau situation. Not Kayvon Thibodeau. Who went first overall to the Jags? Oh crap. Something Walker.
Trayvon Walker,
Trayvon
a
Walker.
couple years back. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a similar situation with him, where like the guy that profiled to go the highest was just based on traits. Where
Yeah.
like Latu going first was all based on like he had all the moves.
Yeah.
But Trevor continued his. I'm gonna take the dude with the funny name in the 5th round.
Yup,
So
yup.
congratulations,
Yep, good call.
Got
Thank
Kool-Aid,
you.
which is a fucking the best name, just the best
Really
fucking.
is.
Kool-Aid McKinstry is really a strong name. So.
And then Will Shipley. I actually am surprised that he didn't get more like hype during the process, given the running backs. Like,
Because he's a 5'11" white running back. What do you like?
Yeah, I mean.
I don't know. Like,
like
you can run. Like,
I think he'll be a better real life running back
Yeah.
than a fantasy running back just because of situation.
yeah.
I don't know.
I mean,
We'll see.
he's behind Saquon, so yeah.
And Jalen.
And
Hurts.
Jalen, yeah.
Yeah.
There's 2 running backs in front of him.
Don't worry, Saquon's ankle's gonna blow up.
Oh, I'm
and
sure.
Fast as hell, yeah.
It'll be all
I never
Will
bank
Shipley.
on injuries, but like I don't know. There's a reason I dropped Gainwell too, is because Shipley's gonna take his job. So
Yeah.
not a bad
Yeah.
pick, I don't think.
No, it's a good backup.
He's got a path for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was those were the guys that I covered.
All right, next.
All right, Trevor, take it away.
Let's see here. I'm supposed to do Casey, Scott. Let's just
Do me last.
do you last.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
Scott last. That's actually.
We'll do Casey then. Where did I put
Casey's
some
a straight down the middle here. Straight
Yeah, just
shot
like Ben.
drafter.
Yep.
No trades.
No trades.
Lot of DBs.
Oh, Xavier Worthy.
Solid pick.
Yeah, that's a really good pick.
That's
Especially
solid.
Fastest man went to
at
Memphis.
1.8.
Who
Yeah.
the fuck allowed that happen?
What do you mean?
The Lad McConkey over Xavier Worthy is a choice.
Nah, man, Lad McConkey is fucking balling.
Yeah, dude. I have no problems with that.
Yeah.
You're the only one who
I would
makes
have picked.
that.
I personally, I would have picked Xavier just because of where he's going. He doesn't
Same.
really have too much
Mhm.
competition over there, other than Travis Kelsey. So
I think both Lad and Xavier will have long careers in the NFL. Assuming they stay healthy, of course. But
Yeah.
both of their situations are good. Xavier Worthy's is like a dream.
All injuries being equal, I think Worthy has the better outlook, just based on where he landed alone.
Kansas City
the
traded
scheme.
up for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll
I think
see.
he's a good fit.
We'll see. I'm skeptical of. I mean, they've had what Rashee Rice is their one like success in the I don't know, 3-4 years at wide receiver. Like if he doesn't hit, they're talking about like a Patriots level run here.
So was it Jatavion Sanders?
Mm-hmm.
This could be good. It could be bad. Tight ends are always a toss-up. They either end up being a blocking tight end or they end up being a catching tight end. And he didn't really do much in the preseason. I mean, 2 targets for 22 yards doesn't really show you much. We'll see. That's one you got to let develop. I think he's a good player, but tight ends are always a toss-up.
Taxi squad stash for sure.
Yeah. Taxi end.
Let's hope for the Bryce Young renaissance.
Bo Nix. I mean, I like the pick. I also hate Oregon, so I'm kind of a hater. But I did pick Troy Franklin because it could just be one of those. They get together and they end up popping off all year. So.
I also know you want to root for the Broncos again. So. That's fine.
I mean, now that Russell's gone, yeah, absolutely.
Now that Russ is gone, yeah. Broncos are back in play.
Did you guys watch Bo Nix at all in college?
Yeah.
He's fine.
Okay.
I don't know. It's like Oregon runs one of the worst, least fun offenses I think I've ever seen. I've watched a lot of Oregon because my dad is an alum, so.
He's a Duck.
Yeah. Which is funny because he also taught at the University of Washington.
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah.
He must have got so much shit every day. Yeah, Cooper DeJean, DB again. I think it's kind of a toss-up. I think he was really good in college, but who knows if he transfers over? And I think he got hurt, didn't he?
White cornerbacks. Did he get hurt? I didn't.
Yeah.
He already has a hamstring injury. So.
Did you guys see the Devontae?
Keep him on your taxi.
Did you guys see the Devontae quote about him?
Yeah. Oh, that's
dude,
so fucking funny.
So funny.
Fucking milk check.
Somebody like Trevor, when you're done, and everybody else, like when this is done,
I'll pull it up.
Listen,
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, he's good. He's back at practice.
Yeah, he's back. But no, here I'm gonna pull the milk check video here.
Dude, that shit's so funny.
Yeah, what the hell did he say? While you're looking that up, Javon Bullard, a Packer. I fucking hate Packers. I assume that you got that just so you could trade it to Steve when he pops off halfway through the season.
Solid ass move.
That is, I think, exactly what happened there.
Just remember, know your league.
Exactly. Tons of Packers fans, tons of Seahawks fans. We're good.
Yep.
Okay, let's go with John. I didn't realize he was before.
Just
Casey.
throw it in post, Steve.
Yeah, I'll figure it out. I'll cut it in, but yeah.
Lad McConkey, I think we talked about him a little bit already. I still think that.
We got John here.
I'm not a big fan. I think he's so small. I just don't see him working out in the NFL. I think he's a really good college player, but I don't think he's going to transfer
really
over.
solid route runner.
I just don't think he's going to transfer over.
That's why I liked him. Good route runner.
The thing that I think Lad McConkey doesn't get enough credit for is his start-stop ability. I'm always a fan of that. Like if you can get open by stopping and starting, you can get open behind anybody. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, he could be the next Lockett, right? Who knows? He's a tall. I guess he's just tall. I thought he was shorter than that.
Nah.
He was like
he's
5'8".
a white. He's a white player. Like Yeah,
he's a lanky guy. Trey Benson. I think it's a great pick. I think this guy actually might be able to be one of the best running backs out of this entire draft pool, but he's playing for the Cardinals, and their O-line, I think, is kind of decimated at this point.
Yeah.
And
He had some good moments in preseason for sure. Like he showed up. But
yeah, what is it?
But man,
His
yeah.
first game
I was trying to figure out how many. Yeah, his first game sucked, but I was trying to figure out how many yards
then
he
he-
got
Then he looked
in
better
the
after
second
that.
game.
Yeah.
He's also got good breakaway speed. Like if he hits the edge.
Yeah, he's fast. He's
can
fast as
fly.
hell.
Who's he behind right now? James Conner.
James Conner, yeah.
I don't know how much longer James Conner is even going to be in the league. But
James Conner's
once you
29.
get into, I know once you get into that
Yeah, he's
age bracket,
he's not
it's
long for the league for
Yeah,
sure.
it gets sketchy at that point.
He's
Is
got
he even
one,
on a
maybe 2
roster?
more years,
Who
not
has
of
him?
elite production either. Just in the league.
Tyrone Tracy. I think it's a good pick, but he got hurt, and so
Yeah.
if he's already hurt
He's
in his
back
preseason,
he's back at practice as of 14 days ago, but yeah, still
right? But because he's a fucking rookie,
still
he's going to
injury
keep
risk.
shredding himself all year.
Yep, exactly. Continuous injury risk.
Yeah,
He's also on the Giants. And same
Yeah.
thing with the Cards. Their O-line
Right, no
blows.
O-line.
yeah, they're decimated. Luke McCaffrey.
We all know.
Yeah,
Yeah, come on.
We know why he's making that pick in the fourth, like not waiting for the waiver wire.
I mean, with Jahan Dotson gone, he's got a path now.
Yep.
Yeah.
who the fuck is their QB? Jaden Daniel.
Yeah, Jaden Daniels.
Okay.
Trying to get the rookie.
Did he win the
magic.
position now
Yeah.
against Marcus
They
Mariota?
don't have anybody else.
Oh, I thought they were going to use Marcus Mariota until the rookie was ready. But
No.
Nah, then
no.
they watched Falcons tape.
Yeah, no. Daniels has the start. For sure.
Yeah.
And then Spencer Rattler. Is he free agent right now?
No, he's on the
No,
Saints.
he's
Huh?
backing
No.
up.
Oh, is
Derek
he-
Carr.
He's
He
going to
backs up-
take
Oh, Saints.
He's
Derek
he's
Carr's
backing
job.
up Taysom Hill.
Oh, okay.
Taysom Hill is going to be a weird running back, football man, tight end, quarterback guy,
Yeah,
Like,
Taysom
well,
Hill is
Taysom
going
Hill's
to
just
line
gonna
up
play
wherever the
football.
fuck he wants.
Gadget player.
Yeah.
football man.
No, I know.
Football man.
That's his
But I
position.
do
football
like
man.
that on Sleeper officially has Rattler as backing up Taysom Hill, backing up Derek Carr.
I think
But-
Rattler is just going to back up Alvin Kamara.
Yeah, I mean he's going to hand the ball to Kamara, that's for sure. He's in the game. Okay.
Cade Stover.
Could work out. I
Uh,
mean, it's kind of. I feel like this is the kind of the same thing as.
I mean, he's got the right build for a tight end, but again,
Yeah.
you never know if he's going to be a fucking blocking tight end or if he's going to be a
Right.
catching tight end until they
Yeah.
get him in his role. He could pop off. I think
I
wasn't
haven't
he
watched
a
enough Houston preseason to know how they've been utilizing him.
He's backing up
Dalton Schultz.
Dalton Schultz.
Like, yeah. Cade Stover came into like the process with like possible going number 2.
If he's backing
behind
up
Brock
Schultz,
Bowers.
then that means he's probably profiling more as a pass catcher.
the only thing I could see that this being a problem is that CJ Stroud doesn't like doing checkdowns. He likes doing the
No,
big
he's home
like,
run ball guy.
home run guy. Yeah.
Yeah, it might take a couple like seasons before CJ decides that checking down is a worthwhile
It's
thing. to
okay,
do.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, Blarg,
Yeah.
Ricky Pearsall.
So let's start with Slick Rick.
Bro
Uh,
got shot 2 days ago.
This
3 days.
dude is such a baller.
Dude,
I already love him.
oh my god.
So Trevor, did you hear the story?
Uh-uh.
So he went to a signing event in downtown San Fran, and he was leaving the event, and this 17-year-old kid comes up and tries to rob him of his Rolex. And Ricky Pearsall was like, "Nah, fuck that." So he started wrestling with the kid, and apparently Ricky Pearsall got shot in the pec.
Yeah, you got
It
shot in the
was
chest,
in and out.
right?
So like
Okay.
it hit him in the chest, but it didn't hit any organs. It just went through his like man boob basically, out his back. And
Yeah.
How
He
did
ended
that
up
not hit in
taking-
Oregon? That's
he
what's
ended
so,
up
so
fucking
fucking
wild.
lucky.
He ended
Like,
up taking the gun, or like
how did that
while
not
he was
puncture a
wrestling,
lung?
while he was wrestling with the kid, he ended up shooting the guy, and then he ran off. And then there was some cops nearby that saw it, and they ran over and they arrested the kid. And then Ricky walked his ass to the paramedics who walked him to the ambulance. And they took him to the hospital, and then he was released from the hospital a day later without surgery.
Fucking football, man, and lucky as hell.
I kind of want this guy on my team.
That's what I'm saying. He's a dog.
I
I saw all the memes. It's like, now we know why Shanahan took him. The X-ray just came back, and it's like the thing with the dog inside of the dude's chest cavity and shit. I'm just like, let's fucking go.
Yeah, dude. No, Slick Rick, man. I mean, there's a reason he was called Slick Rick.
Yeah.
That dude, like, yeah, he's got a tattoo of a poker hand that doesn't exist and a roulette wheel. It makes no sense, and it says "bet on yourself." It's great, absolutely perfect.
I'm a Parasol fan, and it's funny. The situation surrounding this was because Steve took the guy I wanted with the pick that Danny traded him.
Right.
So
Yeah, you got kind of like unfortunately gift horse.
I wanted
Parasol,
BTJ
and...
like really badly, and then Steve took him, and I was sitting there hemming and hawing, and was like, I don't want to pick a Niner. And then, with everything that's happened, like, I'm fucking all in now. I love Ricky Parasol.
Yeah,
He's a
all
fucking
in on
dog.
Ricky.
Because I got him, and I got Brian Robinson, who both got capped
Yeah,
to start their career.
Yeah.
Ricky Pearsall had the
You just
best
need
catch
to-
of college football season, though.
Targus, you need to be the one to finally pry Tank Dell away from Kelsey. And just like
Get
complete
all
the
gunshot
trifecta
wound
of
squad.
all the shot
Yeah.
football players.
All right.
Anyway, I didn't want to steal your thunder, but there was a whole story.
It's a whole thing, yeah.
around
No,
it. It's
that's
probably the
that's
most
amazing.
conscientious pick of the draft.
That's
With
amazing.
all the bullshit that's already happened.
Yeah.
I can't wait for him to run out to 50 cents. Many men.
Many men, yeah. It's gonna happen.
I was gonna say Rebirth of the Slick, but you know, that works too.
Now there's got to be a Bay song, man. There's got to be a hyphy song for him.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
I'm just slowly collecting all these Florida Gators. I got Kyle Pitts and now Ricky. Just all their
Kyle
offensive
Pitts.
weapons, please.
Yeah.
Although if you
Got
can
it.
get like E40 to just yell, like do the intro of Bang Bang Niner Gang when they run into Levi's, like
Oh man.
Ben.
I hope Ayuk gives him like a bulletproof vest in his locker when he
Yeah.
travels.
Hey, fucking hilarious.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ben Sino beat out Grandpa Ertz
Oh,
for
fuck
the
yeah.
start. So
finally.
that makes me sad because I love Zach Ertz.
Zachary
as
has
a player.
finally succumbed to father time.
But that would mean that Ben is a good choice because they're gonna throw to him.
Yeah, presumably.
Also, he's a good pass catching tight end, which is why I wanted him.
Maybe in a
But
couple
we'll see how
years.
it works out because they got a rookie quarterback and you never know how.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a shit
Yeah,
show.
it's gonna be a shit show for like at least 2 years.
Yeah, Jaden Daniels isn't going to pass to him for a while because he's going to.
No, he will. He will.
Oh, he will.
He just won't be good.
You watch Jaden's tape. He uses his tight end as a safety valve. This is why I wanted Ben so bad.
Yeah, he's a pocket passer. He's good.
He's gonna struggle with the deep ball. Like, we'll see how Terry McLaurin does, but like, I feel like Terry's gonna be kind of upset at him on the sidelines during the season. We'll see.
Jalen Wright. I don't think I saw too much of him. I don't
Dude,
really
he had
ever
the
watch
nastiest
Tennessee
comeback
games.
of the entire preseason. Like, team all speed with the Dolphins, man. I'm all in on Jalen Wright.
Yeah, he's good. He's gonna be good.
He ran like a 3 or a 4.39 or some shit at
Yeah,
the
team all speed.
combine.
Yeah, he joined the
But,
track
like-
team.
And his college yards per carry was like 7. Like, for his whole
Yeah,
career.
it's insane.
It's disgusting.
The only problem I see is that he has to, go against Raheem Mostert and Devon Achan. So it's like, how the fuck are you gonna get any time with the ball.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a tough road.
it's Mostert. We'll see.
It's also Achan, like both like old and
Pretty injury prone.
Injury prone.
Both.
Like so.
I don't think Achan dealt with injury throughout his entire college career, and he just started having issues in the
He
pros.
just got hit.
That's
I
like
mean,
Lamar
it's-
never got sick in college, but now he's always sick.
Hey, Ricky Pearsall never missed a game, and he got shot.
He got
It
shot.
took getting shot to miss a game.
Let's see. Audric, how the fuck do you say Estime? Estime?
Estime.
Estimate.
Um,
Like estimate, but just cut the last half of the word.
I don't fucking watch Notre Dame games, but
He's
And
kind
he's
of
on
like
a-
Ray Davis. He's just a bowling ball of a man.
yeah, he's just a short, big dude,
Fast.
dense guy, fast.
Well, not fast, but like he's actually pretty slow. He ran like a 4.61 at the combine, but like he's like game speed fast, if that makes sense.
Let me look at something really quick. 4.740.
Yeah, he's
Oh no, dude.
Oof.
But dude's a bowling ball.
But he has really good explosiveness. 38 broad jump, 10'5". That's not bad.
He just had a bad
Some bad runs.
40 time.
How come he didn't do lifts?
I don't know. These players like don't test certain things for weird reasons.
I don't know. That's kind of a really important one, at least in my opinion. Okay, no, he did 23 reps. Okay, so that's not bad.
Yeah, he's a flyer.
I don't. That's three reps less than DK when DK was in his like prime weightlifting. So I don't know. I can do fucking 23 reps. I don't know. We'll see how he works out. I don't really believe in that guy right now. And then JJ McCarthy got absolutely fucking destroyed. He
Got
missed his-
absolutely blitzed.
Yeah.
Bro, I will take him in the 5th round any day. Let's
Yeah,
go.
no, I think this is a
Oh,
solid
absolutely.
5th round pick.
Yeah, it's a solid 5th round pick because you can just stash him on IR all year and be like,
And
okay,
he's going
cool.
to
Oh, hell yeah.
Got an extra taxi spot. Thank you for the expansion.
He's going to start next year. Like,
Yeah, without a doubt.
it's fine.
He's a starting quarterback I got in the 5th round because injury and when we drafted. And
Well, and
nobody
like
wanted-
he's going to have an entire year to like really learn the system and get all the mental reps down,
Yeah,
which
he
is
won't be
huge.
playing
Yeah,
because
he
they
won't be
have full
playing, but he
practice
can
up
at
there.
least like go through all the motions and stuff. Like, if he's really good, the way that people say he is, it will be a leg up.
I mean, he won a fucking championship.
Yeah, that's something.
Washington.
Yeah, I watched that. It made me
It was-
sad.
Yeah.
I saw a defense beat Washington, but yeah, you know,
We beat ourselves.
I think JJ McCarthy is like he's too much of Russell Wilson without the arm, and he's already got a knee injury, and it's like I don't know, man. Like
Mhm.
I'm
see.
very skeptical with you if you've already got a knee injury and like your biggest thing is your traits.
Next.
All right, Targus, you're up.
That's you.
I'm next. Okay. Let's do Danny. Because his is quick.
Yep.
Danny traded away a lot of his picks to bolster his defense and some other stuff, which is smart. I think that Danny has the scariest defense in the league now. Just
Arguably.
pound for pound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he picked Roman Wilson in the 3rd, which is funny because he really wanted Byron Murphy, and then Trevor picked him up
Yeah,
before.
that's true.
He had 2 picks in this draft, 3rd from last, and then at the end of the 3rd round. So he really didn't go into this draft like super prepared because he knew that he wasn't going to get anything really. But he had a short list of players he did want that he thought that he could get, and Byron Murphy was on that short list. And then Trevor comes in and picked him right before his only pick.
Yeah, that was funny. Danny was mad.
He was like, "Fuck! God damn it, Trevor!"
That's
Then I
good.
texted Trevor, and Trevor's like, "I'm mad. Everyone else is taking my picks.
The most upset I was is that I wasn't in the draft early enough to get Romo Dunze because that was my boy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, your team would have to suck a lot of balls to get Roma Dunze, though.
Yeah, there was no way Rome was going to fall to you.
And there's no way your team's going to be that bad with who you have on it. Doesn't matter how old they are.
That being said, Roman Wilson, like, I think that's a really, really good pick.
I love Roman Wilson.
I think this is a
But
smart
then I
move.
think about Arthur Smith and his face, and
It's
I'm really sad.
Yeah. I mean, this kid can fly.
Yeah, he's fast.
Yeah, the only knock on him really is
Excellent
his
record.
situation, in my
It's
opinion.
just his situation,
Right.
Because the Steelers are going to suck.
Oh, the Steelers
Yeah,
are going to be. like,
Arthur Smith exists to take a fall while someone better becomes available.
Dude, Coach T is going to have his first losing season. Just saying.
Ooh, that's a fun stadium
There's a hot
prediction.
The
Market.
Steelers are going to be so fucking awful this year. And I say this as someone who's invested in the Steelers. It's going to be brutal.
All right,
Okay.
you Pickens.
And then Malik Washington, I really like this pick, especially
is a great
at the
one for the
very
fifth
end
round.
of the draft, just as like an insurance, not really an insurance pick, but like just having him before waivers roll, just like locking in, so you don't have to bid on him. Because I definitely would have.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. I wanted him
is-
with my last
yeah.
pick.
He was on my short list of players to pick up at the end there, but JJ McCarthy was sitting there. That's why I didn't pick him. But I really like Malik Washington. I think he's going to be pretty good. I think if he's in any other situation, I'd be a little more sus. But just like the Dolphins being who they are, I think he's going to be a really interesting prospect. He could hit, and he could hit big. But
I think the thing that I think bodes well for Malik Washington actually sticking around for being like late day 3 draft capital is like Mike McDaniel's wanted him. If your coach
Yep.
wants you and he doesn't, and like you do anything positive, like that's good. That you're on the roster
Yep.
and you'll get an opportunity.
That's
yeah, he's been getting
absolutely
He's been getting a lot of love from beat reporters in Florida too. So
It's also his
we'll
skill
see how it
set
ends up though.
is if Devon Achane was not a running back and like just did checkdowns. Like that's about it.
Yeah.
Which is
Still
they
okay.
ran out of steam with that one, so it's a good. He's got a roll.
Yep. All right, let's do Josh. Move along here. So Josh got Malik Neighbors. That goes without saying. It's going to be a solid pick. I hate the landing spot, but Malik Neighbors is an absolute stud. No doubt about it. Hopefully the next quarterback that starts for the Giants can get him the ball because Daniel Jones ain't it. Xavier Legette, I really like that the player. Again, not
like
super
the
fond of
landing
the
spot.
situation. The Carolina Panthers are atrocious, but they completely tore apart the team from top to bottom. Like none of the offensive linemen from last season are going to be involved with the team. Coaching staff is completely different. Yeah, it's
But
just
that could be a
completely
blessing and a
different
curse
situation.
too, you know. Like, I mean, with that much turnover, like it's basically a whole fresh operation. And
Yeah.
Their left
Canales,
tackle's
right?
this-
Dave Canales
The
is
left
their
tackle's
coach.
this
now?
thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Maybe he can do it. Maybe he can't. Like, we will find out. But it's a real.
I think he can.
It's a real gamble,
we-
I think, for Carolina.
When we look at his track record with, especially even last season, just what he did with Baker in Tampa Bay,
That's true.
I
He
think
was very
that
good there.
I think they'll be able to utilize Bryce Young like he should be. They need to get him rolling out of the pocket and juking defenders because that's what he does best. Unfortunately, you can't do that when your line is wet tissue paper and you have to get the ball out in -1 seconds every play.
Yeah.
So
Just not gonna work.
We get to actually see what Bryce Young looks like this season, and I think Xavier Legette's going to be a big part of that. Aside from Deontay, they don't have a whole lot out there, aside from 35-year-old Adam Thielen. So
Yeah, which is, as we learned
we'll
last
see.
year, not a number one.
The other thing I really like about Legette is he's a really high character guy. He's heavily involved in the charities already. in Carolina. So I think he also did a fundraiser after he got drafted for his high school to get them sports equipment or something. So he's just a
Stand-up dude.
good person, like a solid human being. So I'm a fan of him for those reasons.
10 out of 10 X.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Latu, we kind of talked about earlier. I think that the top end of the draft this year, the real draft, was kind of 1A, 1B, 1C when it comes to Verse, Latu, and Murphy. I preferred the other two, but I think Latu is going to be a good player for sure. I don't know so much about fantasy relevance. D-line is kind of interesting because it's kind of like having a top tight end. If you have a good one, they are absolute game breakers. But if you have a middling one, they are very frustrating. And even the good ones, the NFL good defensive linemen, they just eat up blocks like crazy, and that stuff doesn't really help you for fantasy. So they have to be really dynamic playmakers to make an impact on the stat sheets. So we'll see. Dallas Turner, I really wanted this player. I just knew that I would not get him because he would go way too early. I think he's going to be really solid, and I love the dual designation IDP players. I think they have a ton of versatility. He has line eligibility, so they'll be able to slot in
I also
to either flex or linebacker, or eat up one of your lineman slots, which is going to be really valuable. Burton, I think he'll be good if for fantasy soon, assuming there's injuries in Cincinnati, and if Joe Burrow is healthy.
Alive.
He'll be effective this season, but I think he's more of a next season. We'll see if he can carve out a role in front of Yossi Voss. But I do hear there's a lot of really good reports from camp about him. And then, in my opinion, one of the steals of the draft, Adonai Mitchell in the 4th, is criminal. That shouldn't have happened. But there was a run on defense in the 3rd, and I can see why he fell. But the 4th round, even if you can think of it as like basically a late 3rd, is still insane for a player who has premium real life draft capital and a great situation.
And he's 21.
And he's very young, so I am excited for Josh to have a good team, because I think he's actually going to be a dark horse contender this year. I think my predictions early on were that Danny would have the scariest defense in the league, and Josh would be a dark horse contender for a championship. I think his team's solid. And Steve-O, I think you were the last one in my list.
Yep, you have the big
You
one.
had half the draft.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try and make it brief.
Yeah.
Brock Bowers is a stud. I hate his landing spot, especially with Michael Mayer.
Yeah.
And the Raiders are awful.
Awful.
So, not this year, but I think he'll have a long NFL career, and he will be fantasy relevant at some point. Bit rich for my blood, 3rd overall, but hey, you need a tight end.
I needed it.
So I don't hate it. Talked about it.
To be honest, Michael Mayer, because I picked him right last year.
Yeah.
I think he's their blocking tight end, so I wouldn't worry too much.
I don't know. Mayer is too talented to just have him be a blocking tight end.
I agree.
He's a good
I
pass
understand.
catcher.
They have Bowers widing up wide in practice and doing all sorts of weird shit. So who knows?
Bowers is
what I
going to
really
be
hope.
weird.
What I really hope for you guys is that the Raiders just end up being the team that plays the most 12 personnel by a wide margin, because that's what they should do. They just have Devontae Adams, and then their 2 pass-catching tight ends.
Yeah.
Who else is on that team?
And plan to run off play action. I don't think that's a bad idea.
Yeah.
Live in 12.
Yep. Especially with players that Brock Bowers is fucking huge.
You got Brock Bowers and Michael Mayer.
Michael Mayer is also huge. So
yeah.
yeah. Brian Thomas Jr. Talked about it earlier. I really wanted him. I think he's going to be solid as hell, assuming that Jacksonville can kind of get their shit together under Doug. I love Brian Thomas Jr. I think he's a prototypical wide receiver one kind of build. He also is well within it's well within his range of possibilities that he is an absolute abject failure. So, you're paying for the upside, taking him in the first round. But I think he has high variance in terms of his career outcome. And a lot of that has to do with situation.
Yeah, because
So,
because
we'll see
Brian
what
Thomas
happens
ran
with his quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, he could wind up
two
with WR1
slower than
or a
Xavier Worthy
WR4.
with 45 pounds more. Yeah, like that kid could fly.
Yeah, I really liked his tape. I really wanted him, but I'm happy
Brian,
with
you're
Ricky Pearsall.
You're talking about Brian, right?
Brian Thomas.
Yeah.
Yeah, BTJ.
Yeah, I think the only problem that he's going to run into is that Trevor Lawrence decides he's going to play sometimes, and sometimes he decides he's not going to play.
Yeah,
Right.
it's kind of my concern. I just mentioned is like his quarterback situation is really contingent on his success, unfortunately. Jaden Daniels, I like him. Second overall. I think Washington is awful, but I think that he could be their future. It's possible. Jaden Daniels is a good player. So, and he's got the talent with his legs to be a viable starting fantasy quarterback. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah,
Jalen Polk.
Run for
Oh,
1,000
sorry.
yards.
What were you saying?
Oh, he could run for 1,000 yards this season. It's
Oh,
totally
absolutely.
within outcomes.
Yeah, he's fast.
Likes
Jalen Polk. I love my Huskies in this draft. I think they're all solid.
Good class.
I think that the landing spot for him is kind of sad because New England is terrible. Their line is terrible. They're one of the worst teams in the league, and that makes me really happy. But I'm sorry for Jalen Polk. Junior Colson is like the best linebacker in this draft class next to Dallas Turner, I think, even though Dallas Turner is more of like a
More on the edge
outside
side of
linebacker,
things.
like
Yeah,
edge.
I wanted an off ball specifically, so
Yeah.
and
Colson is a really good pick. I think that is not like IDP is kind of a tricky for a draft because they take so long to develop, much longer than offensive prospects usually take.
Right.
But I don't hate taking Junior Colson or Dallas Turner. Malachi Corley could be a really good pick for the Jets because they have Aaron Rodgers.
Theoretically.
Even though he's old as fuck, he's still one of the best pure passing quarterbacks of all time. So I think that if he can develop a connection with Aaron Rodgers, he'll be really solid. Bucky Irving, I think could take Rashad White's job straight up.
Yeah, this is a good
Not
pick.
Rashad.
Yeah.
This is a good pick.
Rashad.
So that
Coming
putting
for you,
pressure
Rashad.
on the sophomore, or no, he's a junior now, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is going to be his fourth year. I
Contract.
believe.
Yeah, he's sneakily had a pretty long career as a running back in the league as like not
Rashad.
a highly touted prospect. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and
Like
a
that.
lot of volume throughout that time too. So
Right.
it's been tough on him.
Tampa Bay's had really good luck with third round running backs. So,
Yep. Jalen McMillan, another Husky. Love him. I
Yep.
think that it's kind of the same deal as BTJ. The quarterback situation is really going to be contingent on his viability as a fantasy player. It's kind of one of those guys that you kind of wonder from a fantasy standpoint if he's going to be rosterable after his rookie contract's up. But I think he can ball out and show that even though he was playing on a really loaded offense, that he can stand alone as a wide receiver 2 or 3 in the NFL. I think that's
also
his ceiling.
for his rookie contract, playing on that loaded offense is going to help. He's got Mike Evans and Chris Godwin to pull a lot of the defensive attention away and just give him a chance to shine and show off his tools because McMillan can really do a lot.
Yeah, again, I think that he's going to be more of a real life viable
Probably,
player more
yeah,
so than he is a
than
fantasy
fantasy.
asset. He'll
Yeah.
probably be on the waiver wire in 2 years, but we'll see.
Yeah, that's a
I feel
fourth
like I've
rounder.
been saying that a lot, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Needless to say-
Rasheen Ali, that is a fucking dart throw. I'm not even gonna say anything about him. Theo Johnson is more interesting to me because the tight end situation is wide open, and it's kind of this toss-up between Daniel Bellinger and him. So I don't know how that's going to end up.
Bellinger
they
has
seem
never
to like Daniel
impressed
Bellinger
either.
Well,
so,
Bellinger was behind a good tight end
For
who
1
was in front of
year.
him.
but
one
was
year.
the starter for
And
2
then the
years
year,
before
and then
that,
the
right?
year where he actually, his second year, he ended up getting poked in the eye so bad he broke the orbital
that's
lobe
right.
in his skull. So he had
That's
a really
right.
gnarly
He
injury.
did get poked in the
That was
eye.
kind of a freak thing that kind of derailed that season. But there's been a lot of retired pros that have been gassing up Daniel Bellinger. So I'm holding on to him in my taxi just to see what happens. But I don't know. I honestly don't think either of these players are going to be anything for fantasy. But
New York tight ends are taxi prospects. That's for
exactly.
sure.
Yep. So that's Steve's draft.
Yeah. Which means I will take it away from here and finish this sucker up. I'm going to start with Kelsey, who's got the bulk of it here. And the obvious start with Marvin Harrison, Maserati Marv. This kid's going to be good.
Nothing really to say about this.
Yeah, this kid's going to be
It's
good. He
no
landed in a
doubter
great spot.
first overall.
He's basically an instant wide receiver one in his landing spot. And he's got Kyler Murray throwing it to him. He's going to be fine. Keon Coleman's a little bit more interesting. Just because there's some wide open opportunity in Buffalo here, it seems like, in the wide receiver space. So, especially with Gabe Davis having departed, it's like Khalil Shakir, and Coleman seems to be, he's going to be a big part of it too. So, Kelsey continues to stack at wide receiver.
Loaded.
They're
One of the
really
best.
loaded.
One of the best wide receiver rosters.
Yeah, easily the best in the league, I think.
It is straight up the best.
I think it is, especially after this draft. Like, Kelsey has the best wide receiver room in the league.
Jamar Chase, Marvin Harrison. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, that's all you need to say. You add the rest of this. You add the Tank Dells and the Keon Colemans in there, and it starts to look absolutely fucking silly. Yeah. Next up here from Kelsey's draft is Kimani Vidal, who's a pretty interesting kind of backup running back choice, I think. Both Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins have significant amounts of wear on them, and they're going to be playing in Greg Roman's extremely run-first offense behind a Chargers line that's going to be just sort of cobbled together at first. Like, I don't think they've had enough time to gel yet. So I think that makes Kimani Vidal a pretty interesting kind of like, it's not a handcuff for her, but an interesting flyer in case of injury because it's likely, I think, to happen. Quinion Mitchell here is a slot cornerback.
Yo, I love Quinion Mitchell. I think he's gonna be a fucking beast.
I think
Yeah,
this
dude,
is
that's-
one of
this is
those.
one of the best picks.
I think
This
he's
shit's gonna work.
I think he is a good player, but I don't think he's going to show up in fantasy.
I think he's gonna light it up in fantasy. He's gonna be extremely boomer bust, but he's gonna be one of those players
right,
that gets,
exactly.
like,
He's going to be
3
one of those
PBUs
players
and
that
then-
gets 4
and then
PBUs
4
in one
weeks
game,
of 1 tackle.
and then one tackle for like
He's
a
gonna
week.
win you the week that he goes off.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
you're gonna hate having him in your lineup. That's my
Exactly.
prediction.
He's gonna be really rough for that reason, and like
But hey, that's
it's-
kind of the
that's the slot corner. Like that's
how it goes.
That's the
with
DB way
DBs.
sometimes, or non-safety
Boom bust.
DBs. Like, I'm just kind of low on most cornerbacks. This is a wild thing for me to say, kind of, because I have 2 cornerbacks on my roster in my DBs. But like, yeah, if they can be high floor, like tackling cornerbacks, I'm into it. But I'm really just not into these kind of swingy boomer bust plays. But yeah, I do think Quinion Mitchell is a good player. He's going to be a good
Eagles
IRL
defense
player.
is going to be pretty solid
Yeah.
after a down year.
I honestly think though, that most of the targets are going to get fed towards Isaiah Rodgers. That's my suspicion.
I think there's going to be too many milk checks for that shit.
Yeah, there's also going to be a lot of milk checks on DeJean. And then finally we got Javon Baker, who is, another. This is kind of like an interesting. He was a late round pick, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is an interesting flyer
he's
here.
buried on a depth chart. He is a dart throw.
He's according to this, he's a WR2, but sleeper is
No.
a mess. But yeah, no, and the Patriots are also still a mess.
It's the Pats, so yeah, ain't nothing there. Man.
It doesn't matter. Kelsey wipes her ass
this
with
is a wide receiver
receivers.
drop for Kelsey. Like this is an afterthought for her wide receiver room. But yeah, the Patriots are a mess.
Taxi squad.
Yeah, taxi squad for sure.
Yep.
For at least a year or two. See how it goes.
Plays out.
Yeah. Which leads me to Joe's draft. When we're talking Patriots,
What
and
draft?
to start with what little of draft Joe had that I didn't take.
Get the champ out of here.
With starting with Drake May, which I think is I don't know.
It's more of a. I guess I'll take Drake May.
Yeah, I think this exactly. This was a. I think this is the right choice to make right here. I don't know. It's not a sexy pick, but I understand why you'd make it.
Joe was talking up Drake May. He was saying that he was hoping that he would follow the Seahawks and stuff during the offseason process. I know Joe's kind of been juicing up.
Kind of into the Drake May. I think it's fun that Drake May has been paired with Gerard Mayo, and so we have a Mayo.
Imagine if he actually
it's not Will Levis.
went to a team that was a real football team though.
Yeah, I mean that. I had also heard a lot of hype coming out of, or like before the draft, that Drake May was among the more complete quarterbacks, from this class. From a pure passing standpoint, which I think is what New England wants. But their line is absolute Swiss cheese, and I really hope that they put Jacoby Brissett out to take the brunt of that cheese line for May, for at least the good portion of the season, while they get things figured out for both Joe's sake and for Drake May's sake.
I'm not terribly worried, honestly. Like, he's 21. Like, this is the exact type of player profile you want for a QB. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Jared Wiley. This is someone's got to back up Travis Kelsey, or someone's got to replace Travis Kelsey eventually. Pick.
It's more of a Noah Gray is dust.
Yeah, Noah Gray is dust, and also someone's got to replace Travis Kelsey eventually. And we all know Peyton Hendershot shoots nothing. So,
another huge white guy that looks sort of like, that has the kind of the profile of Kelsey.
Extremely
that
Amish.
Also played a QB convert.
Yeah, exactly. Former QB.
This guy might be on the waiver wire.
This is a flyer.
Before the season ends.
This is a flyer, I think.
Yeah.
And speaking of flyers,
let's be honest.
Yeah,
we end with Whittington, Mr. Irrelevant for our draft. Just the absolute. I don't want to put in a waiver claim pickup here to end it all.
It's more a bet that Sean McVay is doing Sean McVay stuff, and he'll be relevant like week 4.
I mean, according to Sean McVay, he's going to be a factor. So
yeah, he says a lot of things.
Sean McVay
McVay's full of shit.
Words are wind, McVay.
Hair gel.
Tell me when you've got kneecaps. Okay, and that leads me to Jordan. Exactly. Jordan, who also doesn't have much to talk about, which is nice. So we got Penix here in the 3rd round.
Love Michael Penix.
This is
the actual landing spot. The player.
I think this is a great. I think this is a great pick. I think this is especially given Penix's situation and Jordan's situation.
How the fuck do you like Penix when he's had like more surgeries than me?
That's his knock, but and
Because he's the Falcons quarterback.
That's the homer in Skot here.
Yes.
This is why I
He's
don't
backing up
actually
Kirk Cousins.
care about your opinions
That
about
dude.
the quarterback because
I
all
love
of the
that.
problems that Penix has are all season-ending injuries on a team that isn't gonna play him.
I don't care about all that. I just care that he's on the Falcons, and Kirk Cousins is teaching him the way. Because Kirk Cousins
That's
is
true. That's
the
true.
man.
Yeah, I think that honestly, for someone who's had as many injuries as Penix has had, and to show what he's shown, the opportunity to get healthy for a few years and put a lot of that behind him and get his body right and get his conditioning ready, and put himself in a position to really play is a really good thing. So I'm
if he
stoked
could
for him
care-
on that, and there's no better job than the NFL backup QB
On the Falcons.
on the Falcons, on any team really.
I'm just excited for the Falcons to have an actual quarterback room.
Yeah.
Again, real actual quarterbacks, not this fucking Happy Meal bullshit.
Yeah.
Arthur Smith ass garbage.
Right.
Anyway.
I mean, you got Mr. Consistent, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm so pumped for the season to start.
I
Then I
bet.
can watch the Falcons get absolutely railroaded for 4 weeks straight.
Yep. That's coming up. All right, so Jordan's next pick in the 4th round here is Nate Wiggins. I think this guy, he's going to be all right. I think, again, profiles as a better real-life football player than a fantasy player. He's already taken the starting spot as a boundary cornerback, according to the Ravens depth chart. Probably is going to be another one of those super boom-bust guys in terms of actual fantasy. When those PBUs come in, it's going to be big. He'll probably get tested quite a bit at the beginning of the season. Same with Quinion Mitchell, honestly. They'll probably both get tested a lot in the beginning of the season and maybe put up some good points, but then we'll start to see whether they can get beat or whether they start beating people, and that will determine how the targets go. AJ Barner.
Homer pick. We all know why he picked him.
This is a homer pick.
We know.
Yeah, this is a homer
Yeah.
pick. This dude blocks.
Yeah.
That's a
Pure
blocking
block.
tight end.
Look at
right
this. Look at this man's chin. This dude blocks.
there. That dude blocks.
This dude
He
blocks.
only he put up 200 yards in college and
Also,
only
respect-
blocked Michigan.
respect that you didn't go for 87 and you picked 88.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
good number.
truth.
Yeah, good for him.
He knows what he is.
Yeah, he blocks.
All right, well, that's it, guys.
Well, yeah, and that does it. So, all right, let me get back to our scene here, and I'll quit streaming. But yeah.
All right, well, as you know, defense wins championships.
Yeah, defense always wins championships.
And Steve sucks.
And Steve sucks.
And fuck you all. So thank you so much for sticking around for the podcast. Yeah, we will see you all at the end of week 1 for the return of the rest of the regular season content.
Don't let the injury bug bite.
Yeah, please don't let the injury bug bite. It's too early.
Later.
All right, peace.
Good night.
More, though.
Yeah, Calvin. He's the one that I wish I would have saw play for 15, just so I could see what the numbers would have been. Because Jerry played until he was fucking 42, bro.
Yeah,
his numbers would never get touched.
No.
It's impossible unless literally they just start bringing in all white corners or something. Then that's
No, for real though.
yeah,
It's real though.
I'm playing. But
Cooper
yeah,
DeJean.
that is a thing. Though. I don't know if y'all heard. Have y'all heard of the milk check?
That's a real thing.
You get out there, yeah. You got one on
milk
you.
check.
Milk check. You scream that to the quarterback. You let them know.
How many times have you done it?
I
It's like,
haven't done
hey,
it
it's
before.
like
I haven't done-
AAU.
That's like an old school thing. But yeah, I didn't.
It's like playing AAU hoops,
Yeah.
and you got the white kid that's guarding you,
Yeah.
and he's like, "Oh, clear him out,
Clear 'em out.
clear him out."
Pick on the white
In hoop,
dude.
you might run into some trouble with that though.
Yeah.
'Cause
I used to be the guy they would say that to, and I'm like, Fuck you.
Come on, let's go. Let's go.
go.
Especially if you see a white dude on an all-black team. Like,
Yeah.
that's the antenna should be going.
He's
up.
there
Like,
for a reason.
This is
There's no
not
doubt.
it's not a normal situation. I should not be sleeping here.
No.
Not that white people can't play football or basketball. Like I mean, there's not very many at corner, at least.
You're not gonna hurt my feelings. It's okay. There's no
That's not
white
your
corner.
We're the token
I don't
white
want to
Yeah.
get, I don't want to get
your
no
feelings.
hate mail
Yeah.
online.
What do you
Like,
mean?
That's not for
There's
you.
a lot of good white corners. There's literally you can't even count them on one hand. There's none.
Is there
There's
any?
not one.
Is there
Iowa's
There's-
got a dude coming out in the
Iowa's-
first round. Apparently, is a white DB.
White? No, he's a white corner.
White corner.
There's white safeties. That's a whole different thing. But there is
Yeah.
not one starting
Yeah.
white corner.
Yeah.
And now there's the Iowa kid.
Yeah.
But he's a freak though. I looked up like his basketball highlights and shit in high school. He was like an
Bang.
All-American in
Going
high
through the legs
school,
and shit. Yeah, he
both
probably got
sports.
bounced.
Yeah.
Freakish.
That's how it
And
goes.
he's a punt returner, kick returner. Like, yeah, he's like that. But we'll
Yeah, he
see.
is.
Well,
We'll
I haven't
see.
played against one, so I hope I see him
Yeah,
next year.
yeah,
wherever
you
he
got
goes.
a milk check.
Send his ass over to the Chargers.
Yeah, facts. Send him over there. Broncos, Chargers, anyone.
Us
Chiefs.
whiteys can swing the clubs, fairly decent. So, whenever you're bored, you need another player out there, let us know. Over there at Summit.
See, that is now you're making more sense.
Yeah,
See, that
thank you.
makes sense.
Thank
Golf.
you. That's why I'm here.
Table
I
tennis.
got you.
We're trying to get him to pick it up. He needs to start swinging
Croquet.
the sticks.
He
He
like
just becomes too obsessed with it.
Okay.
That's his thing.